Today on Thursday's Thoughts is kind of different. It's actually, I'm recording it on an actual Thursday, so this will be posted later on today. And I'm not going to be covering anything controversial or personal. I'm actually going to use my Thursday Thoughts to give you my thoughts on the camera I use, which is a Sena Prism Tube. And we're looking at the Blanco River today. It's pretty clean. There's a little bit of trash out here, a door and other stuff. And it's over there. It's pretty nice. This is the river actually that flooded my neighborhood a little over a year ago. It crested over that part and got even higher than that. That's part of the reason there's the debris here. But I just wanted to share that with you. But we're going to talk about the Sena Prism Tube today. So off we go. Alright, I've been using the Sena Prism Tube for a little over a month now, and I think I've used it enough for me to give you a decent review over what I like and I don't like. When I was looking at action cameras to use to get into moto vlogging, which is why I'm doing this, I didn't want to lay a lot of money out, and a lot of the action cameras, the GoPros, the Contours, the Drift, I think there's another brand out there, the Sena brand. They are all fairly expensive. I'm talking, they start out at $250 minimum. The GoPro, I think the latest GoPro starts out at $400 if I'm not mistaken. So that's a bit steep to get into something that you don't necessarily know if you're going to do for the long term. I had a feeling I was going to do this long term, but I didn't want to lay out $400 to find out I was wrong. The price point on this camera is perfect. It's just over $100. I think I paid $107 through Amazon. With mine, I've seen them as high as I think $120, $125, and as low as $100, just depending on where you get it from and how you get it. Now, one of the best things about this camera is the price point. $100. I mean, honestly, you can't find an HD camera that's worth anything for $100, and you definitely can't find anything like that that'll fit on a helmet. So that right there is bottom line one of the best aspects, if not the best aspect of this camera. Another thing that really drew me to this camera is it doesn't look like a GoPro. People don't know that I'm wearing a camera. They'll see something and they say, is that a camera, or what is that? Because it looks like one of those little LED flashlights you get at Lowe's or the dollar store or whatever. We use those little flashlights as stocking stuffers. So that's one of the things, that's another real big draw for me, is it's not this big blocky camera that you have to stick on the chin or have it on an arm or the top of your helmet. The way this looks is fairly stealthy. It doesn't just stand out. In fact, I had my helmet on a table the other night at a coffee shop, and these two guys were kind of talking about it. I didn't catch the conversation or really understand what they were talking about, but I knew they were talking about the camera. Another thing that's really good about this camera is it's very simple to operate. Once you mount it to the side of your helmet, you figure out where you want it to go, and then you just pull it on and you push it off. So there's little ring, you pull it on, push it off. Pull it on, and the speaker in your helmet tells you camera on, camera recording. You turn it off, it says camera off, and it'll also give you other alerts like batteries dead, cards full, camera off, whatever. And overall, I think it's a decent camera. The biggest thing I don't like about this camera is the file naming system. Most cameras that you use will either use a continual sequential, like every time like the camera itself knows that it's taken 74 pictures, so it doesn't matter what card you put into it next, it starts with 75. Now, most camcorders and cell phones, when they record, they use their file naming system is based on the date and the time at which whatever was shot or recorded. So, for instance, Today's October 5th, 2016, so it would be 20161005 underscore whatever time it. I'm still got my blinker on. So 103. So it'd be 1303. And then that would be how you named it. And then you can move all those over to your computer and edit them, and you never have any issues with anything that you're doing. However, with this camera, everything is PRIX0001. And it's a sequential as long as that card is in there. But once you take that card out and erase the files and you put it back in, it starts out at 001. So if you're going to record, if you're going to put your, dang, I still got my blinker on. So if you're going to record something and you're going to move it to a folder, say for instance you have a moto vlogging folder, you now either have to rename all of your files or upload them to different folders. So like today is the 5th of October, so I would have like an October 5th download folder, and then I'd load those up into my computer and then go back and go from there. I would much rather have a system where it either numbers everything sequentially until it flips over again, or uses the date to record the files. It's not a killer. I mean, for $100, I'm not going to cry about it, but I don't think it would have been that hard for them to just change the firmware a little bit. Another thing that's kind of a hassle is there's no settings. You can't change any settings on this camera at all. You get 1080p at 30 frames per second, and that's it. The bit rate is a bit low for HD, so the quality is not that good. You may have watched and you see it in 1080p. Maybe on your phone it looks fine, but on my TV it does not look good. I mean, comparatively, like honestly, my cell phone shoots better HD footage than this camera. But then again, I paid over 3 times the amount for my cell phone than I did for this camera. So that's a little bit like, and it's really just the bit rate. The rate at which it records video is a lot slower than most HD records. Like, I think my phone records at 24 megabits per second, but this only records at about 11 megabits per second. So the quality is not there, especially now that we're getting into 2K and 4K video that's shooting 60 and 120 frames per second. Like the GoPro, I think the GoPro that's out now shoots, I'm not sure if it shoots 4K at 120, but I do know it shoots 1080p at 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second. Anyway, it's the video looks very good. The colors are very brilliant, and this is kind of washed out and not very crisp. Not to mention the nighttime videos are not, like, they don't do well in low light. I would like some settings for it, even if it's not for video. Like, I would like to be able to adjust the mic gain. Sometimes this microphone in the helmet clips a little bit, especially when I'm going faster and I'm talking louder. But it's, again, $100. I'm not crying. And probably the last thing, the really one that bugs me the most is when you put this into the holder, it holds it very well. There's not any side to side, up down, whatever to it. Like, once you mount it on the side of your helmet, it's mounted. The problem is the little cup that holds it. The problem is that the little cup that holds it like this, the camera has a tendency to rotate inside of that. So you may put it in straight, but if you pull it on and you twist your hands as you pull it on, all your video is going to be pretty much unusable. And that is the biggest thing for me, because no one wants to watch a video where the landscape is sideways. And now that I could get, I guess if the quality was better, you could take it into your editing program and rotate it and then zoom in enough so that you don't get the black triangles from rotating it. But the quality's not there, so that's not an option. If you're looking to get into moto vlogging, the Sena Prism Tube is a good entry-level camera, and it may last you a while. I've been using it a month, and I'm not looking to change it until, you know, honestly, until my channel starts making money and I can start putting money back into this channel. But right now it seems to be adequate. The only complaints I've had on my videos so far is wind noise, and I don't like the clipping. No one's ever said anything about the mic clipping, but I don't like it, and I'm doing my best to combat that with the modifications I've made to my helmet. So I've rambled on about this camera for a bit. Final thoughts on this camera: great entry-level camera, or it could be a good second camera if you're looking for that setup. You guys out there that already have the GoPros or the Senas or the Drifts or the Contours, all those other ones, probably not going to be impressed by the quality of this camera at all. You will be, I think, honestly, I think you will be impressed by the styling, because it doesn't look like anything that's out on the market right now, and I feel like it hides itself well. So if you're getting into motovlogging, this would be the camera to get. Or if you're just looking for a camera to use for personal safety, if you want to document your rides, you know, you go to work, you want to document on the, you know, the off chance that somebody's going to cut you off or whatever. You know, insurance purposes, I guess. If you use this for insurance purposes, it's a good camera to have. I really recommend this camera just because it's easy to use. It's no nonsense. You plug it in, you go, you put your SD card in your computer, and you do your editing that way. And I assume you can use any editor as long as it takes the file. It's 11:30 on Thursday, and I know you guys are probably dying to have this video, so I'm going to get it out there for you guys. I'm sorry it's late. I haven't had a chance to really gather my thoughts on this and put this video together, so thanks for watching. And I guess this is the first time I've done this. Be sure to like and subscribe, share, and comment on my videos. I really enjoy doing this, and I get really excited when I grab new subscribers, and I really appreciate all the views that you guys have provided me. And the more you guys contribute to the channel, the more excited I get, and then you end up with me not ruining your Thursdays or your Tuesdays or your weekends by not putting a video up. Oh, look at this guy cutting stuff. That's a job to have there.